Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Morrowind Mod of the Month series, where we take a look at some of the best mods released each month. As always, I'm your host, Dark Elf Guy, and today we're taking a look at some of the best mods of June 2018. And for those curious, no, we did not have a popular vote or online poll to decide these mods. This list is based entirely on my own, personal preference and judgment. And we will be returning to a popular vote starting next month, but anyway, June was a surprisingly active month for the Morrowind modding community, with about 87 new mods released during the entire month, which is rather, really incredible when you consider that historically, June has always been a rather, slow month for the community, usually on account of modder burnout after the modathon, but that doesn't appear to be the case here. Granted, there is some, overlap with the modathon, since the May modathon actually, ends on June 1st, but even if you just, dismiss those last-minute modathon entries, you're still left with about 80 new mods, which is quite frankly a lot. After the 110 mods released in May, there's already about 200 new mods released just in the last 2 months alone, a level of modding activity we haven't seen in this community in a very, very long time. But anyway, I'm getting a bit carried away here. There were just a lot of great mods released in June, and coming up with a list of the top 3 mods was a bit difficult. I'll try my best to, present a fairly diverse group of mods here, but keep in mind, there were just a ton of mods released in June that are also just worth mentioning, and I recommend checking out the Nexus for yourself to see what you might have missed. In any event, download links are down below, so let's go ahead and get started here. And our mod of the month for June 2018 is Morrowind VanillaPlus Textures by Nico, Wilhelm. And, well, here we are again. It seems like we just did one of these, but, well, there does seem to be, like, one of these major texture replacer packages that get released about once every 6 months or so, and, well, what can I say? In a similar vein to many of the other, large projects out there that do, similar things, replacing all the textures in Morrowind, like, Vibrant Morrowind, and recently, just earlier this year, HD Vanilla Textures, which also won the Mod of the Month, I think. VanillaPlus covers most of the textures in the base game, and replaces most of them with fairly, vanilla-style textures, as, the name would imply. And I believe the mod currently, in its current state, covers about 95% of architecture and landscape textures in Vanilla Morrowind, and also some of the clothing and armor textures, though I don't think it covers anything from the Blood Moon expansion quite yet, though I don't know about that. And anyway, before we get too far along in our showcase here, I have to confess that I'm not entirely 100% sure I have this mod installed correctly for our showcase. There's a surprising, lack of reference screenshots to go by on the mod download page. But, I'm fairly sure I have the normal map settings set up correctly, so hopefully, everything just shows up fine. And, that is something that we need to note here, because unlike pretty much, all the other major text replacer overhaul packages out there, VanillaPlus has taken the unusual step of just providing normal mapping for almost all the new text replacers included here, making it, I believe, the largest normal map text replacer currently available in the community, which is one of the main reasons why it's our mod of the month here. Now, to be sure, there have been several normal map text replacers in the past. For example, Lysol has made several for individual architecture sets, but none have quite approached, this scale in attempting to cover just so much from the base game, including buildings, rocks, landscapes, caverns, and even clothing and armor. It's really a pretty massive package, and of course, we won't be able to show off, quite as much as I'd like here. Much like with HD Vanilla Textures, I'd like to keep these Mod of the Month videos a bit on the short side. And, it's a bit difficult to showcase these large texture replacer packages in such a short amount of time. Now, naturally, we'll be doing a longer and more detailed showcase video of VanillaPlus sometime in the coming months, without, much of a audio narration, much like we did with the HD Vanilla Textures mod, back in, what was it, January, or I don't know when it was, but anyway, so you can get a better idea of how everything looks in-game. Until then, though, this short showcase video will have to suffice. But anyway, as the name here would imply, VanillaPlus is a, well, vanilla-friendly texture replacer that tries to keep to the same style and, color scheme as the vanilla game, and largely succeeds, I think, making this a tempting option for vanilla purists out there who just want a better-looking game. And indeed, with a normal mapping support, this might be the best, lore-friendly and vanilla-style texture replacer package on the market for purists out there, which is a good thing, given that the audience for purist, graphical mods appears to be, growing in recent years. The community goes through these swings every now and then, and currently the community is sort of heading away from the more, flashy and colorful texture replacer packages of the past, and heading in a much more vanilla direction, at least, based on my own personal observations. And this package will almost certainly, satisfy that particular audience. Of course, in order to use the normal maps in-game, you will need to use OpenMW, though of course, since this is a texture replacer mod, you don't actually have to use OpenMW in order to get some of the graphical benefits of this mod. But anyway, that note aside, all this makes VanillaPlus our mod of the month for June 2018, and if you're looking for a, new vanilla-style replace package to update your game with, I'd highly recommend, just checking it out. Now moving on, our second pick for the mod of the month is Caldera Mage's Guild Expanded by Lucevar, and without question, the last couple of months have been, pretty fantastic for mage-type characters thanks to the efforts of modders like Melkor, Greatness 7, and Half 11. There's just been a ton of really good, gameplay and quest mods for mages, and, specifically, the Mage's Guild. And it appears that just a couple of days after the modathon, we have another, instant classic for the Mage's Guild on our hands, with Lucevar's Caldera Mage's Guild Expanded. As one of the often forgotten and overlooked chapters of the Mage's Guild in Vardenfell, Caldera really didn't have a whole lot going for it. It was plain, a bit boring, really little more than a travel stop for those looking for a means to fast travel to this modest mid-sized city. And now, with the Caldera Mage's Guild Expanded mod, you'll find a much more, interesting branch of the Imperial Mage's Guild to visit, with redecorated and expanded rooms, including a library on the second floor, more documents, such as notes, providing, an immersive element to an active group of mages and researchers and all that, and also a new quest in the form of, renting a room for you to use, which will send you off to discover where a missing mage ran off to. And as the, name here would imply, there's a number of just expanded quarters, including bedrooms and common sleeping areas for the mages here, as well as a kitchen and dining room, which is just simply beautiful to look at. Lucevar has always had a great talent when it comes to interior design, as her, Balmore redecorated mod will attest to, and that skill is, quite evident here. There's also some new NPCs, or some new and unique dialogue, and of course, you can see the, bedroom here that you can rent for yourself. And yes, you will be sharing it with a roommate, so, one side is already decorated and cluttered, while the other side is free for you to use, providing a nice base of operations if you're just, a young mage starting out. Now, I think it goes without saying that this is really a beautiful, and I would say a must-have mod for fans of the Imperial Mages Guild, and alongside mage robes and the Scrolls of the Nine Barriers, not to mention magical missions, it makes the Caldera branch a much more exciting and, interesting place to visit. All this makes it our second pick for the mod of the month for June 2018. And finally, we have our last pick for the mod of the month, which this time around is Remiros' Ascadian Olive Trees 2 by Remiros. And while this is our third and last pick for this episode here, I would just like to say that there were just a ton of great mods in June, especially graphics mods, with some really nice mods by Captain Joker, new and exciting quest mods by Melkor and Gavrillo, and many others besides that we just, couldn't get to here. But anyway, just getting back on topic here, this is a tree replacer for the trees of the Ascadian Isles region, and as the name would imply, it's the second tree replacer by Remiros for the Ascadian Isles here. And now, if I remember correctly, we actually showcased the first Ascadian Isles tree replacer by Remiros back in the Morrowind Mod of the Month episode of July 2017, and those original trees were, although lore-friendly and suitable to the vanilla game, a bit less detailed than these, new versions here that we can see. And just real quick, before we get too far into the showcase here, it should be pointed out that there's actually two different replaces that we're going to be looking at today. There's a more perhaps graphically pleasing version with more forest-type trees, and a more vanilla-friendly version with trees that, better fit the vanilla game, and we'll be taking a look at both of these here. But first, we're going to start out with the perhaps, less lore-friendly version, which has a greater variety of trees that, populates the Ascadian Isles with. You have some rather tall, almost pine or poplar-like trees, as well as thicker and wider trees that branch out more, and even a few that have mildly, wavy trunks. And to forgive me for the lack of proper, tree identification, a knowledge of local flora has never really been my strong suit, seeing as how I spend most of my days inside. But anyway, you'll notice a lot more just vegetation and detail of these trees than you would in the original replacer by Remiros from, back in 2017. And it is nice to have another more graphically impressive replacer like this for the Ascadian Isles. There weren't really that many choices before. You had two different types of Vert's replacers, and that was about it really. So for those who don't like Vert's style, or just think they're, a bit out of date, this is a welcome addition. And of course, there's also the more vanilla-friendly replacer, as we can see here, which closely conforms to the same sort of style and look as those trees from a vanilla Morrowind, but clearly with more detail, a better graphical appearance, and more, well, just, leaves on each individual tree here. And both replaces are quite, good, though to be honest, I find myself liking the more vanilla-style trees a bit more here. But doubtless, everyone will have their, own personal preferences here, and these might, go well with VanillaPlus, who knows. Either way, they certainly appeal to the same type of audience. But anyway, all this makes this mod once again our third pick for the mod of the month for June 2018, and I'd recommend, just taking a look at it. And that pretty much wraps up today's episode of the mod of the month. Again, download links are down below, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.